Yo, half the videos you're about to see in Pixel 11 videos this week are not Pixel 11 features. So in today's video, I'm gonna do things a little bit differently. I took the Pixel 11 Pro and went through every new thing that Google announced one by one and put each one into a pile. What's actually new, what's actually good, and what's actually marketing. Google also raised the price $100 and gave this thing a smaller battery than last year. So they got some explaining to do. Starting with the headline feature, and that is Magic Capture. It's a new dedicated button inside the camera app, right next to the shutter. Instead of tapping it at the right moment when something is happening, you hit Magic Capture and it records, analyzing roughly 400 frames using on-device intelligence plus Gemini models to decipher what's actually happening. And when you're done, it lands you a few 12 megapixel stills of the best moments. It auto crops, it unblurs, and you're left with a lot of media from whatever just happened in front of you up to 2 minutes in length. I think it's great if you have a kid or a pet, or there's some sporadic moments going on, you're not sure if it's a video or a picture, and you just want to capture the whole thing. And the images are actually lower quality than when you would just snap the photo yourself, especially when you try to crop in. It's not a bad feature. Samsung had single take for years, and it's pretty much the same idea. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. It could be better with updates, but that's where we're at so far. Number 2 is camera looks. These are basically filters, but they're applied at capture. You get 3 new default options. You get natural, shadows, and vanilla. All of them are customizable, and you can even set one as your default. Samsung and Apple both do this with photo styles or photo filters or whatever each brand calls them. So this isn't a big feature on its own, but when you combine it with the Pixel camera, you get some really good looking results. I've been enjoying vanilla, which is warm and golden and is really perfect for this late summer look. It's another 7 out of 10. We've seen it before, it works great, but it's also not mind-blowing. Number 3 is Creator Suite, and this one is aimed directly at content creators. You can overlay your script on the viewfinder and it auto scrolls as you talk. It kept pace flawlessly when I was testing it out. Your clips are saved into a folder as you shoot instead of dumping them into your camera roll. You can trim and rearrange them on device after recording, and you can get grid lines for social framing. I've been reading off a teleprompter for a long time. I'm actually reading off one now. So I may not be the best person to judge how forgiving it is, but it does a really good job, and I think it kept up with me pretty good. One caveat is that you are using the front-facing camera, which doesn't look as good as the rear, and that's only the real drawback, but beyond that, it works exactly what they said. So I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. The next one up is Instant Night Sight, and it captures up to 4.5 times faster thanks to the new chip and ISP. This is for the Pro and Pro XL only. So let's put it next to the Pixel 10 and see how much faster it actually is. The quality looks nearly identical to me, it just captures way faster. And that speed matters more than it sounds because you could finally shoot something that isn't sitting perfectly still. 10 out of 10. Night sight was already great on Pixel, and making this much faster earns the bonus points. The Pixel 10 Pro kept portrait mode at 2x for some reason, but the 11 takes it to 5x. So let's shoot a 5x portrait and then check the edge detection. We'll also put 2x against 5x and figure out whether you should be even using 5x in the first place. Looking at it, the 2x and 5x are nearly identical in quality, and having that extra photo length makes portraits a lot easier if you're shooting kids' sports or anything where you can't walk right next to the subject. And also that focal length really narrows in a little bit more. It makes things bigger, and that depth looks even better. Now, portrait mode on the Pixel is already really good, and this does exactly what Google said it would, and I think it looks better than 2x in my opinion. 10 out of 10. Zoom is at 120x now with super res zoom. It was at 100, now we're at 120. I'll be honest, this is the kind of feature I find gimmicky because I don't see myself ever shooting at 100x outside of just messing around. Now there's definitely some AI intervention happening here. Pixel has a history of adjusting text and moving things around when you push the zoom this far because it's using like AI to really build this image back. On most shots, it really doesn't matter, but if you're zooming in to get a picture of text or like a billboard, you may not get exactly what you think you're going to get. But you do have a very usable shot at 120x. The AI does its job at rebuilding the image. Still a gimmick in my opinion, but I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. So there's new glass here too, new 50 megapixel main sensor, new 48 megapixel telephoto with 30% more light sensitivity, and that is a real hardware upgrade. It's bigger than the S26 Ultra's 5x sensor, slightly larger ultra wide, and the selfie camera jumps to 42 megapixels. The telephoto is where you could actually see it on the 11 Pro, so that 30% light claim does hold up, and the image is noticeably brighter in the same conditions. Now, for the 42 megapixel selfie camera, I'm not seeing much of a difference. What that higher megapixel count does, it gives you crop room. So if you need to zoom in on a selfie, but you will have more quality when doing that, or if you wanted to print it out, you have more megapixels to manipulate the photo. Not better, and that's not a knock. It's just not a significant upgrade overall. It's not like an overhaul of the camera system, but we're gonna still give it a 7 out of 10. We also got circle to search inside the camera. You point, you zoom, you circle, and it tells you exactly what you're looking at. It's not groundbreaking, but it works exactly like it's supposed to. It doesn't do much for me personally, so 6 out of 10, but it's there in this mode if you want it. You don't have to go into a special mode to get to it anymore. Okay, a lot of people want to talk about highlight. These are color LEDs built around the camera flash on the back. It's for the Pro models only because it's actual hardware feature. It glows in patterns when Gemini is listening, thinking, or responding, and it glows in a color you assign to a specific contact when they call. But that's about where it ends. You know, I want this to be available for all of my apps. I like to use Telegram, I like to use WhatsApp, or I use Threads. So if I get a message on those apps, I would like it to light up as well. It feels like they're holding it back for some reason, and that is extremely frustrating because it's like, it takes me back to the BlackBerry days with a little ball in the middle with flash, depending on what message. Okay, I'm being very old right now, but I really feel like they're holding back. It looks really cool. Highlight is a 6 out of 10 for me, and that stings a little bit because if they let you customize it and open up to other apps, easily will be a 9 or a 10. The hardware is already here, but they just won't let go of the handcuffs. So here's one feature Samsung had first, the ability to have Gemini take over your phone and handle tasks. So you can have it order you an Uber, or in this example, I wanted to order a pizza from Buddy's Pizza, and it walked through the ordering process for me, picking the size, picking the toppings, all that stuff. I told it and it started doing it. This is still in beta, and sure, I know ordering a pizza for myself will be faster, but knowing my phone can do this feels like I'm living in the future. Even though it's beta, it's a 10 out of 10. We also have Rambler Gemini-powered voice input for Gboard, built for how people actually talk. I can start a sentence, I can stop myself and say, actually, no, make that Tuesday. No, wait, take that out. And it understands exactly what meant to come out. I can be a human and not a robot. This is something that I already pay for separately with WhisperFlow, but Rambler is just like that, except for it's free and it's built right into your phone's keyboard. Next is glanceable cards and proactive suggestions. This is the Magic Q evolution, now called Advanced Intelligence. If you're planning a trip with your friends and they text you about the trip, a card with your booking details and flight status pops in. You're texting about dinner and it offers to lock in the reservation, saving events to the calendar, places it to maps, membership numbers to wallet. All that stuff automatically feeds in as people talk about things. In my limited testing, I can already see how this works, and it should surface more the longer you use it. Samsung does it, the new iOS does it too, and it's good to see Pixel here as well. Real-time speech-to-speech translation that dubs media into your language running on device on your chip. So you're watching something in a foreign language, you go into settings, hit live translate, and it converts it into your language. So you can go from Spanish straight to English just by pushing a button. 10 out of 10. So here are the features that got announced during the keynote that are already on the Pixel 6 and newer. All these were shipped with Android 17, so let's run through these very fast. We have app bubbles. You long press any app and it turns into a floating window. Screen reactions, picture-in-picture reactions recording using your screen as the background. Pause point, a 10-second countdown splash before you open a distracting app, plus per app timers, still listed as coming later this year. Create My Widget, custom material expressive widgets from a prompt that's also delayed. Continue on, which hands an activity off to another Android device. Foldable gaming mode, and we'll see that on the Fold. We also saw that on the Z Fold 8 Ultra. Tap to share between Pixel devices, and Adobe Premiere for Android launching later this summer. All of that is available on every Pixel device, not a Pixel 11 feature. Remember what I said at the top of the video? Half of these features you're going to see in Pixel 11 videos this week already shipped to older Pixels back in June. Now you know exactly which ones I'm talking about. Don't let the marketing hype get you. When you strip those out, what's left is basically this. You have a better telephoto, faster night sight, and a couple of really good software features. In my opinion, that's a solid year, but it's not a $100 year. You can get a Pixel 10 on the secondhand market right now for a lot less than you are paying for the Pixel 11. And you're honestly not missing much. So if you got a 10 Pro in your pocket, sit this one out. If you're on a Pixel 8 or older, that's a different conversation. That would be a real jump. Anyways, guys, those are my thoughts. And I'm Kevin the Tech Ninja. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk later. Peace.